Let me do a short video on our newest report. And I'd really like to hear your comments about whether or not this is useful to your practice. The problem is when you look at an aged accounts receivable report, it's kind of hard to know where to start, especially if you have a lot of patients on that report. And so what we've tried to do is set some criteria so that you can be a little bit or more organized when you approach the AR report. So here's our criteria up here. These are the ones that we have chosen, and the priorities. So you'll see when we get to the report here that each account has a priority, and the priority 5 means you need to get cracking because these are over 60 days old but less than a year. And we don't want them to get a year out there because those become pretty much uncollectible. So these are the ones that need the most attention. The category 3 are ones, these are just a little bit overdue, but they don't take very much work in order to collect them. And in looking at these reports and running these reports for a lot of different practices here, generally practices don't have very many accounts that fall into this category 3, which is kind of interesting. But you'd want to pay attention to these, and again, these are probably the easiest ones to take care of. The priority ones, these I think don't spend a lot of time on them because it's time to give up. Hopefully you've been working these accounts and they're now over a year old and you haven't collected any money, or they never paid you any money. And I think realistically, don't spend a lot of effort. Doesn't mean don't look at them. Look at them before you write them off, but I think you probably are going to write these off. And that's why they're down here at the bottom of the ones that need attention. The 0 priority doesn't mean that they're worthless. It means that either they have a balance less than $5, so I wouldn't worry about that, or they're current with their payments. So just continue with your current payment system. And again, we have systems for that for billing, so that it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's working for these people. So they don't need any individual attention. So those are kind of our criteria. All right, here's a sample report. And you see this guy is a category 5. So he's got a pretty good balance out there, and his last payment was like 8 months ago, 9 months ago. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, this guy is getting close to a year without making any payments. And so that's why it's going to take a little bit of work, but I want to try and collect that money before it reaches a year when realistically it kind of becomes uncollectible. How about this one? We've got an insurance claim out there someplace. We haven't had any payment, either insurance or patient payment, since last June. So this definitely needs some attention. Now, if you're using your insurance aging report correctly, you shouldn't have a lot of claims sitting out here. They should be all taken care of. But this is, and again, you also need to use that report, your insurance aging report. But this is kind of a double check on that. So we need to follow up on this, because when that insurance claim gets out there a year, it's probably uncollectible from the insurance company or from the patient. All right, here's somebody that's a category 3, and I said these were fairly easy to deal with because this patient has paid you at least within the last 2 or 3 months. So you're more likely to be able to collect that money from that person. All right, so again, these are, and notice there's only a few of them in here. Most practices are doing a pretty good job with these, but watch that, watch the ones that are in there. They're the easiest ones to work with. Kind of prompt those people to pay you. Here's one that is a category 1. I'm saying basically uncollectible because you haven't received any payment for over a year. You've got an outstanding insurance claim, and again, you want to watch your insurance aging report. But if this claim is out there, or the procedures were done more than a year ago, you're going to have a very hard time collecting from the insurance company. And it's kind of unfair to the patient to suddenly say, oh, now they didn't pay after all, so a year later we're going to send you a statement for this amount. That's not going to go over real well with the patient. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, we should have jumped on this account a little bit sooner. This was a 5 a couple months ago, a priority 5. So that's why we set this up this way. Here's another one, owes you $218, and they've never paid you. That's why they're on here. Okay, I suspect they're not going to pay you. Okay, so I wouldn't waste a lot of time on this. I'd take a look at the account, but with the idea that we probably want to write it off and move on. Here's some zeros. Priority 0 doesn't mean they're not important, but some of them have very low balances, like $1. Okay, I wouldn't send that person a statement. I just leave it on the account. Next time they come in, we'll just add it onto whatever we're doing that day. Here's somebody down here that has their accounts out there at over 30 days, but they're making payments. Okay, as long as I'm getting money coming in, then I'm happy. I don't think this needs any individual attention. Just do your regular billing routines for that, because basically it's working. All right, so there's our criteria again, and the 5s need prompt attention now, or they're going to become 0s, or 1s, I'm sorry, where they're going to be uncollectible. So pay attention to those first, then work these. These are the easiest ones. Think about writing these guys off. And then for the 0s, just continue what you're doing with your regular billing routines. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Again, I'd love to have your comments, and if you want to have me continue to do the report, you need to let me know. Otherwise, you don't need to do anything. But have a Happy New Year.